Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe for more educational English videos like this one. Tom is 23 years old. He lives in a small apartment with his brother in a busy city. The apartment is not very big, but it is comfortable. There is a small kitchen, a living room, 2 bedrooms, and a balcony with many flowers. Tom likes sitting on the balcony in the evening because he can relax there after work. Every day, Tom wakes up at 6:30 in the morning. He does not like waking up early, but he has to go to work. His alarm clock rings loudly every morning. Sometimes he wants to sleep more, but his brother always says, "Come on, Tom, you will be late again." Tom works in a supermarket near the city center. He is a cashier there. The supermarket opens at 8 o'clock, but Tom arrives at 7:30 because he likes preparing everything before customers arrive. In the morning, Tom takes a shower, gets dressed, and makes breakfast. Usually, he eats eggs, bread, olives, and cheese. Sometimes he drinks coffee, but usually he prefers tea. While he eats breakfast, he checks messages on his phone and listens to music. After breakfast, he leaves home and walks to the bus stop. The bus ride takes about 30 minutes. During the trip, Tom often looks out the window and watches people in the streets. Some people are going to work, some are walking their dogs, and some are buying breakfast from bakeries. Tom likes watching people because he thinks every person has a different story. At work, Tom meets many customers every day. Some customers are friendly and talk a lot. Others are tired or angry. Tom always tries to smile because he believes kindness is important. One morning, an old woman came to the supermarket. She looked confused because she could not find rice. Tom stopped working for a minute and helped her. The old woman smiled and said, "Thank you, young man. You are very kind." That small moment made Tom happy all day. Tom has lunch at 1 o'clock. Usually, he eats with his co-workers in a small room behind the supermarket. His best friend at work is Kevin. Kevin is very funny and always tells jokes during lunch. One day, Kevin said, "If I become rich one day, I will buy a huge house near the sea." Tom laughed and asked, "What will you do in that huge house alone?" Kevin answered, "I will invite all my friends every weekend." After work, Tom usually feels tired. However, he still tries to do useful things in the evening. Twice a week, he goes to an English course because he wants to improve his English speaking skills. His English teacher is Mrs. Clark. She is patient and friendly. In class, students read simple texts, listen to conversations, and practice speaking together. At first, Tom was shy. He was afraid of making mistakes. But now he speaks more confidently. Mrs. Clark always says, "Mistakes are normal. Speaking is the best way to learn." Tom likes that advice very much. In his class, there are students from different countries. One student is from Brazil, another is from Japan, and another is from Italy. They all speak different languages, but in class they speak English together. After class, they sometimes go to a cafe and continue practicing English. They talk about movies, music, travel, food, and daily life. One evening, Tom asked everyone, "What is your dream?" The Brazilian student said, "I want to travel around Europe." The Japanese student said, "I want to start my own company." The Italian student smiled and said, "I just want a peaceful life and good food." Everybody laughed. Tom thought carefully before answering. Then he said, "I want to work in another country one day. I want to meet new people and see new places." When Tom comes home at night, he usually cooks dinner with his brother. His brother's name is Alex. Alex is younger than Tom and studies computer engineering at university. Alex loves technology and spends many hours on his computer. Sometimes Tom says, "You spend too much time online." Alex laughs and answers, "And you spend too much time worrying." The brothers are very different, but they love each other a lot. On Fridays, they often watch movies together. They make popcorn, drink cola, and sit on the sofa for hours. Tom likes action movies, but Alex prefers science fiction movies. Sometimes they argue about which movie to watch. Last Friday, Alex chose the movie. Tom complained for 10 minutes, But in the end, he actually liked the film very much. On weekends, Tom's life changes a little. He does not wake up early, and he spends more time outside. On Saturday mornings, he often goes to the local market. The market is always crowded and colourful. People sell fruits, vegetables, clothes, flowers, and handmade items there. Tom enjoys walking around the market slowly. He sometimes buys fresh fruit or warm bread. Sometimes he just watches people and listens to conversations. Near the market, there is a small bookstore. Tom loves that bookstore because it feels quiet and peaceful. The owner is an old man, Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris knows Tom very well because Tom visits the store almost every weekend. One Saturday, Mr. Harris asked, "Why do you always buy English books?" Tom answered, "Because I want to improve my English." Mr. Harris smiled and said, "Reading changes people. Keep reading." Tom never forgot those words. In the afternoons, Tom sometimes visits his parents. They live in a town outside the city. His mother always prepares delicious meals when he visits. His father enjoys talking about football and old memories. Sometimes they sit together for hours drinking tea and laughing. Tom's mother always asks many questions. Are you eating well? Are you sleeping enough? Are you working too much? Tom always smiles because he knows his mother worries about him. One Sunday afternoon, the whole family went to the beach together. The weather was sunny and warm. Children were playing in the sand, families were eating ice cream, and some people were swimming in the sea. Tom walked slowly near the water and felt peaceful. He thought about his future, his dreams, and his life. Sometimes he felt nervous about the future, but he also felt excited. At sunset, the sky became orange and pink. Tom took out his phone and took several photos. His mother looked at him and said, "You look happy today." Tom smiled softly and answered, "Yes, I think life is difficult sometimes, but it is also beautiful." That night, when Tom returned home, he sat on the balcony again. The city was quieter now. He could see lights from buildings and hear distant sounds from the streets below. He opened his English notebook and started studying again. After a while, he closed the notebook, looked at the sky, and said quietly to himself, "One day, I will achieve my dreams." Then he went to bed feeling tired, hopeful, and peaceful.
Emily was 19 years old and lived in a quiet town with her parents and her little sister, Lucy. Their house was small but warm and comfortable. In front of the house, there was a tiny garden with colorful flowers. Emily's mother loved gardening, so every spring the garden looked beautiful. Emily worked at a bakery in the town center. She liked her job because she enjoyed talking to people and smelling fresh bread every morning. The bakery opened very early, so Emily woke up at 5:30 every day. Every morning. When her alarm rang, Emily wanted to sleep more. Sometimes she closed her eyes again for a few minutes. But then she remembered her boss and quickly got out of bed. She washed her face, brushed her hair, and went downstairs quietly because everybody else was still sleeping. In the kitchen, she prepared a simple breakfast. Usually, she ate toast with butter and jam. Sometimes she also ate bananas or apples. She always drank tea because coffee made her nervous. Before leaving home, Emily looked outside the window every morning. She liked checking the weather before work. If it was rainy, she took her umbrella. If it was cold, she wore her big brown coat. If it was sunny, she smiled immediately because she loved warm weather. The bakery was 15 minutes away from her house, so she usually walked there. During the walk, she listened to music or podcasts in English. Emily was trying to improve her listening skills because one day, she wanted to travel abroad. The streets were usually quiet in the early morning. Only a few cars passed by, and some shop owners were opening their stores. When Emily arrived at the bakery, her boss, Mr. Miller, was already there. Mr. Miller was a tall man with grey hair and glasses. At first, Emily thought he looked serious. But later she learned he was actually kind and funny. Every morning he said the same thing. "Good morning, Emily. Ready for another busy day?" And every morning Emily answered, "Not really, but let's do it." Then they both laughed. The bakery smelled amazing every day. Fresh bread, cakes, cookies, and warm pastries filled the air with delicious smells. Emily's favorite part of the morning was taking warm bread out of the oven. She loved seeing the customers smile when they bought fresh food at 7 o'clock. Customers started arriving. Some people bought coffee before work. Some bought bread for breakfast. Some simply came because they liked talking to Mr. Miller. One regular customer was an old man named George. George visited the bakery almost every morning and always ordered the same thing: 1 cup of coffee and 2 cheese pastries. George liked talking about history. Sometimes he told long stories about his youth. One day he told Emily, "When I was young, there were no smartphones. People spent more time talking face to face." Emily smiled and said, "Maybe life was quieter then." George nodded slowly. "Yes," he said, "but every generation has good and bad things." Emily liked listening to him because he always spoke calmly and wisely. Around noon, the bakery became less crowded. Emily and Mr. Miller finally had time to rest a little. They usually sat near the window and ate lunch together. One afternoon, Mr. Miller asked Emily, "What do you want to do in the future?" Emily thought for a moment. "I want to travel," she answered. "I want to visit different countries and improve my English." Mr. Miller smiled. "That's a good dream," he said. "Travel teaches people many things." Emily asked him, "Have you traveled a lot?" Mr. Miller laughed softly. "When I was younger, yes. I visited Italy, France, and Canada." Emily's eyes became wide. "Really? Which place was your favorite?" Mr. Miller looked outside the window before answering. "Honestly," he said, "my favorite memories are not about places. They are about people." Emily thought about those words for a long time. After work, Emily usually returned home tired. However, she still tried to study English every evening. She had a notebook full of new words and expressions. Every night she learned 5 new words. Sometimes it was difficult, but she never gave up. Her younger sister Lucy often sat next to her while she studied. Lucy was only 11 years old, but she was very curious. One evening Lucy asked, "Why do you study English so much?" Emily answered, "Because I want to see the world." Lucy smiled and said, "When you travel, can I come with you?" Emily laughed. "Of course," she said. "Maybe one day we can travel together." On weekends, Emily had more free time. She loved visiting the town library because it was quiet and peaceful. The librarian, Mrs. Green, knew Emily very well. Mrs. Green often recommended books to her. One Saturday, Mrs. Green gave Emily a simple English novel. "This book is good for your level," she said kindly. Emily looked worried. "What if I don't understand everything?" Mrs. Green smiled. "You don't need to understand every word. Just keep reading." Emily borrowed the book and started reading it that same evening. At first, it was difficult. Some sentences were confusing. Some words were new, but little by little, she understood more. After a few weeks, Emily finished the entire book. She felt proud of herself. For the first time, reading English felt possible. One rainy Sunday afternoon, Emily decided to watch an English movie without subtitles. At first, she understood almost nothing. The actors spoke too quickly. Emily became frustrated. She paused the movie and sighed loudly. "I will never understand native speakers," she complained. Her father heard her from the kitchen and walked into the room. "What happened?" he asked. Emily explained the problem. Her father sat beside her and said something simple but important. When you were a child, you couldn't speak your own language perfectly either. Learning takes time. Emily smiled a little. Her father continued, the important thing is not being perfect. The important thing is continuing. Those words motivated Emily again. Months passed, and slowly her English improved. She could understand more videos, more songs, and more conversations. One evening, she met an American tourist in town. The tourist looked lost and asked, "Excuse me, where is the train station?" Emily felt nervous for 1 second, but then she answered in English. "Go straight, then turn left near the bank," she said carefully. The tourist smiled warmly. "Thank you very much." After the tourist left, Emily felt incredibly happy. It was only a short conversation, but it gave her confidence. That night, she wrote in her notebook, "Today I used English in real life." She underlined the sentence 3 times. Later that evening, Emily sat near her bedroom window and looked outside. Rain was falling softly, and the streets were shining under the lights. She thought about her future again. She still did not know exactly where life would take her. Maybe she would travel, maybe she would study abroad, maybe she would meet new friends from different countries. But one thing was certain. She would continue learning, dreaming, and trying. Then Emily closed her notebook, turned off the light, and went to sleep with a hopeful smile on her face.